Okay. I was waiting to see what else would come out today. Some minor stuff, so let's get on it. Joe Thornton's been placed on the injured reserve, not long-term injured reserve, so he'll miss a minimum of a week. And there's not a whole lot of details on this. Honestly, Thornton is at that stage where he's going to need maintenance days, maintenance time, and I really believe this is his last year. So Thornton's out for a bit. We'll see what happens with him, but Steve Mason may retire. This was talked about last night on Hockey Night in Canada, that Steve Mason, due to injuries and due to not getting contract offers that he's happy with, he's turned down at least one contract offer that's known of, and he's basically probably at the end of the line for him. So it seems early, but it's likely the end for him. Both Calgary and Vancouver right now, there's excitement in Calgary to do with Elias Lindholm, and an excitement in Vancouver with Elias Pettersson. And of course, thus the walk with Elias term, or Elias. For Vancouver, it's a matter of 3 goals in 2 games for the kid. For Calgary, it's a guy that they picked up from Carolina, who they seem to have faith in building around long term. So both teams are happy with their respectable Elias people. And of course, these teams expect something different. Calgary is expecting playoffs. Vancouver, we just want to see upward movement of the young kids. Jonathan Quick was injured in practice this morning. Will miss the start tonight for the Kings against the Red Wings. So it'll be Campbell that's in net, and probably an emergency backup unless somebody's there right away. So LA, it'll be interesting to see, is this going to be just a one-off? He's out for a game and he's back next game. You've always got to wonder with Jonathan Quick, because he does have quite the injury history. Anderson, and there's already talk about Anderson, and I knew people would start circling Freddie Anderson right away. I always find myself defending Freddie Anderson. I think Freddie Anderson's a decent goaltender, but his October numbers, they're Luongo October numbers. In his his third year, so two years and 2 starts for Toronto, he's allowed 4 or more goals against in 10 out of 20 starts in October, and his save percentage in October overall is .890, and his goals against average is 3.49. So those are poor numbers, and people will say that's indicative of Toronto's defense. And it's funny because we're 2 games into the season, and there's already people ripping Toronto on the defense isn't any better. This looks the same as last year. This doesn't look any better. 2 games in, 80 to go, and people are talking like it's a fait accompli that they're not going to be as good as last year. 2-0 starts right now: Anaheim, Nashville, Dallas, Colorado, and Chicago. So I thought, let's look at 2-0 starts from last year, as of October 7th. So I'm going to start looking at exactly a year before and see where teams are at. I'm going to have fun with this with news videos later on. Last year on this date at 2-0, Vegas, who went to the finals. Washington, who went to a Stanley Cup and won it against Vegas. Detroit ends up out of the playoffs after a 2-0 start. LA's out in round 1 against Vegas. Toronto's out in round 1 against Boston. St. Louis and Chicago both ended up out of the playoffs. So the only team that shows up on the board twice is Chicago. And I remember last year, a couple weeks into the season, we're like, okay, Chicago's back. I remember Chicago being number 1 on my power rankings. So it'll be interesting to see how things turn out this year and how many of these 5 teams end up in or out of the playoffs. And what's interesting, too, is all of them are Western teams. All of them are Western Conference teams. And odds are at least one of them will probably end up out. But 4 of them are in the Central, showing that once again the Central, along any timeline, looks better than the Pacific, even if it's just like a few days. So there you go. Just some fun little stuff and some interesting news and notes. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below regarding these issues, and how excited you are if you're a Canuck or a Flame fan right now. I know personally I'm excited to see Pettersson, what he can do this year, and hopefully that takes a lot of pressure off Brock, and you see Brock start scoring goals too. So let's see how that turns out. Let me know your thoughts, as always. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.